left off on the 70s. So you talk about that train crash explosion.
Yeah, you know what, with the train crash, let's start that over.
Yeah, so I'm back with Eric Denio, and we're talking about the history of Denios, which goes way back to the 40s. But let's talk about the 70s. There was a big train explosion in 72.
Yeah, it actually was in 72, because that's when I was born. So I'll throw that out there. So my, obviously I don't have a recollection. My recollection is the stories that my mom and my dad had talked about. But that was within miles of our property, and my dad actually was it was an old patrol car that we had, an old Crown Victoria that we used as a night watch vehicle. And my dad had friends in that area. It was in the Antelope area that it actually happened down the train tracks. And so my dad hopped in that Crown Victoria and drove up into that area. To this day, I am amazed because I've seen overhead pictures of that, and I mean huge craters that were left, and some buildings that were just demolished, and there was not one life that was lost from that. So really, the story that my dad throws out there is that, I mean, it was so loud and boisterous. He saw our asphalt. We have just on this side about 75 acres roughly, and so he saw rolling asphalt because of the concussion of those bombs going off. From what I understand recently, Alex, I guess within the past 10 years, they actually found other ones that were still lodged in the ground. They actually had to get out of there. So that was a pretty scary time, to say the least.
Was there an auction going on at that time?
No, there wasn't. We actually weren't open. I'm trying to remember the day. I actually can't recollect the day.
I know it was late in the year.
Yeah, but it was close to a weekend day. So luckily, there would have been thousands of people out here at Denio.
Talk about how Denios became just the thing to do in Roseville. I mean, would you say it's like the biggest event in Roseville?
Yeah, we so there you have the fairs that come into town. You have different events like that. We're in every weekend of the year, quite honestly. I think Christmas is the only day that we have had a weekend day closed down. So it's a regular thing, and we gather thousands that come from all over the place. And this is actually, a lot of individuals that are in the United States don't realize the way that open air market is set up. That is normal to the world. That's very normal. A lot of individuals
In Europe?
Yeah, in other countries, this is what they're used to. They're not used to going into a building to go shopping. Everything is normally outdoors. So we have a lot of different ethnic groups from all over the world, quite honestly, that come here to do the regular shopping, whether it be food, household items, furniture. Back when it used to be probably more tractor, items that would go into the barn, for farmers that used to be here. Now, as time has progressed and different places have been built up, different tract home areas have been, Roseville's really grown, substantially. So, oh yeah, huge. So,
help your business here?
Yeah, I think there's always kind of been our base that, might not be the individual that goes to gallery on a regular basis, So we've had our base. Other individuals that have moved into the area said, look, I just came from the East Coast and I heard about Denios through the internet or through a conversation. I want to check out Denios. So it's one thing that we've really been. My grandfather has a really neat story. I was thinking about this while we were talking a little bit about the history and where people come from. My grandfather, back when my dad and my uncle were in grade school, my two aunts, they went on a trip around the world. So they ended up at one point on the Great Wall of China. And as the story goes, my grandfather, walking with the Denio group and looking at the sights, overhears another conversation from a family talking about Denios. So, and this is on the Great Wall of China. So I just found that to be astounding, you know, and of course he was very proud about that because he started this business from nothing, you know, I mean, just from the sweat of his brow and, you know, the strength of his will to keep pushing on. And so, you know, now we get the blessing of it. You know, there's several family members. I have my sister actually works for the company, Tracy Denio. My cousin, Richard, who works for the company as well. So we're very proud that it's still family owned and operated. We run regularly about 120 employees on any given weekend. Really busy summers, you know, we're pushing 130 individuals. So it's a very big operation, a lot of parts and pieces, a lot of the morphing from the, quite honestly, back from the 80s, 90s. You know, now being 2012, you know, social media has just blown up. It's gone. It's been substantial, you know. So I know so many businesses now, it doesn't really matter what sector of business that you're in. Social media is a way of life now. So I remember when my sister and I first brought that to my dad and talked about Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. And, you know, I kind of saw the look on his face, like maybe the deer in the headlights, you know. So now we've been on the bandwagon for about 3 years. If you want to follow Denials on Facebook, we have about 4,000 followers now. It's been phenomenal. I have the opportunity to go out and take pictures and video and put it up on Facebook, you know, on the weekend, any given weekend that we are operating. So you can kind of see merchandise that's out here, potential food items that are out here, events, that type of thing. So that's been a huge change from standard, you know, newspaper being on the TV commercials. So.
Eric, I want to talk with you more about what goes on here at Denio's in the next video.
That's a good